is can a booty call ever just stay simple or does it get messy at some point? And I'm gonna tell you when a booty call gets messy is when you start feeding them.
Come on, Rico.
But Louis or Rico, Hondo, have you ever paid for pussy ever?
Of course.
My nigga.
I paid for
like that.
I paid like how much do you cost?
No, not like
Where were you
that.
at?
That's a prostitute.
That is a little bit.
Not
What
like
country
that.
were you in?
Not
I
like
thought that's
that.
what I meant when I hear pay for pussy. How much do you cost?
What's the indicator in that conversation that she won't be fed? Like, what do you?
The booty call. We gotta get off the food. So look.
That's what holding motherfucker.
Wait, no, real talk. Think about
You gotta get off the food. You're blending two different situations.
No,
for
I'm
sure.
not. Let me be clear. Let me be clear, because maybe I'm not, right? You saying you put in all this effort. The conversation topic is booty calls, so that's where I'm at with it. But my thing is, you saying you done had intellectual conversations an hour and a half. You might have led her to believe this is a decent guy. And decent men.
He's a decent guy.
Decent men ain't giving you dick and not giving you a bite
No, they're
after.
not.
No, but what I'm saying is,
What if you just want that?
The point of
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
I'm so
I just want to clarify.
Yes, please go ahead.
So the point that we're saying is that there's two different types of women that get two different types of treatment, right? When I said I haven't gone on a date with the girl before having sex, that wasn't the booty call. The booty calls never get a date.
Ever.
But the girl that I might be interested in, I'm gonna invest time in talking to her to learning how her mind is. And just that conversation alone would develop some type of, we already attracted to each other. Now it's gonna develop comfort. It's gonna develop some type of understanding. And then at that point, we're gonna meet. And when we meet, we're gonna have sex. After we have sex, then we go on dates. So there's two different situations.
But I don't
Do you
understand.
possibly
I
not
disagree.
care about that girl? You said, of course not.
Right.
No,
booty
you
call
just asked me if I had
You
feelings
develop-
for
yeah,
her.
after talking to her for weeks, morning.
No, feelings and courtesy is different.
Courtesy.
I'm courteous.
That's a really great point.
But I'm not. Feelings
That's a
is-
really great point.
Yep.
That's a really great
But
point. I
if
need,
you-
I
but
need
I
so
think you
much
can-
emphasis on that. I need so much emphasis on that. He says there's a big difference between feelings and courtesy. Ladies, you guys need to stop confusing their courtesy with their feelings. They're just being polite.
They have to stop confusing their
No,
courtesy.
we have to, because they
But
can't be
have to-
trusted.
They have to. No,
they cannot be trusted.
Obviously, but
they
we
cannot
can't.
be
You
trusted.
can't say you texting a girl, "Good
bitches
morning,
need to be
good morning, my
courteous.
beautiful love goddess.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
think
a
you're
good one.
gorgeous.
You bitches
and
need
you're
to be
beautiful." And he
courteous
said
right back
that's
to
a
them.
good
That's a
one.
good one. I like that one.
That's not courteous. Being courteous is, hey, you. I might have had a flat tire at lunch and you came to help me out. But you texting me and making me believe that you are feeling me in a way emotionally that I am feeling you. I'm I'm sorry. If
They're
you don't
not to
agree
be
with
trusted.
it.
I
No
don't
one
believe
does.
in
You're
those.
not
No
gonna
one
I
be
will
does.
say
trusted.
this. I will say this.
They're
I
not
think
to be
that if he,
trusted.
one thing I have learned is not even just if he said it. If he hasn't said it, that's also something that you have to pay attention to, because you can't form your own generalization about what their feelings are. If they have not verbalized it, then don't.
And
Oh,
even
I
when they
feel
do
like he
verbalize it, do not believe them.
And that's weird. But we always got to understand that
The
some
actions
women.
have to
That's
be
the weirdo.
congruent.
But we always got to remember
Wow,
that
yo.
some women just want to have a good time too. So you
Yeah.
can't
That's
just
true.
knock those
Yeah, that's
off. You
true.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
there is women that just want to have a
But
good
that
time
goes
with a guy
back
they're
to the
attracted
statement
to.
you said earlier, because what she made the point about having a clear communication about what
Right.
y'all doing, you was like, nah.
I mean,
gotta
yeah,
do all of
that's
that.
unnecessary, though.
But what you just
Obviously,
said
it's
is
not.
necessary
Right.
because in order for me and you to understand that we just and I don't expect nothing else, you don't expect nothing else. You got good dick, my hit, my head hit, you slobbing, you know. Then that's the understanding. But that understanding isn't accomplished without a conversation. So what I'm saying is, if I'm with I don't give a if we talking, or we were just a booty call, I'm gonna make sure it's clear and known
Right.
that I expect to be treated a certain way.
Right.
If that treatment is not on your list or what you gonna get with, then you can
You should go your
kindly
separate ways.
Yeah.
It's been times when girls come at that like, okay, what are we going to be serious? And you would tell them like, no, I ain't on that. I'm just living life, having fun. You would tell
And I
them, you know
think
what
that's
I'm
a
saying?
big mistake for a woman to even ask a man.
Agreed.
Because and they're gonna do it regardless. But I think that when a man feels away,
He shows
his
it.
actions are going to show. You're not even
That's
gonna
true.
have to ask him. And text good morning every day and good night baby are not it.
It's not it.
That's not it, because I'm gonna tell you that I know for a fact that they will text multiple women the same messages.
Yeah, look, group
You're not
text.
special. Men think about sex so
how
many
you do it.
times throughout the day. Every time he messages you is because the thought of sex is passing his mind. It's not because you're special. You need actions.
Ouch.
You need actions to show you what he's feeling. And then you need consistency with those actions.
100%.
Women, you have to stop having sex with these men and you have to stop believing them. You have to, else we can't feel sorry for them no more.
No, you can't.
Some
And
women
to
just
your
deserve
point-
that. There's some women that do and some don't. You know what I mean?
I'll say
Every
this
woman
to
don't
your
deserve all the.
point. It's also, like you said, action. Actions have to be congruent with the words or whatever that. Like, so I 1,000%. My grandfather always said, "Never believe what a man says, only what he does." But what I will
is
say
still a
is,
lie.
she's right about.
Yeah, he was lying. He was running
He's
game
still
on you.
alive.
Hold on,
No,
hold
sorry.
on.
They'll do the most
Let me
just for
finish my
nothing.
That
statement.
nigga was running game too.
Let me
Shout out to
finish
him.
my statement. Let me finish my statement.
Lock him up, huh? You
Because
ready?
at the end of the day, something Ross said that's kind of going over the heads that I want to surface to the top is that there's a consistency. At the end of the day, a liar always reveals that they're a liar if you sit around and watch long enough. So at the end of the day, you eventually putting up this act is going to get a little tiring for you, for someone who's just a
Yeah.
But I will say I agree with that. Like, if I'm being honest, that same night that I referenced, we had sex, whatever the case is, I mentioned casually in a conversation that my hip was hurting because I'm curvy. And if I don't sleep and turn my position or have like a pillow between my legs, I wake up a little bit sometimes feeling it. And that day I was laying down, and before he left to go to work, he slid a pillow between my legs because I fell asleep without one. Right now, it might not seem that significant.
It is.
But at the end of the day, that was a small detail.
It is.
Such a goat.
That could have been
Right.
game
Yo,
too.
that's game right
We're
now.
still here.
What are you talking about?
Rico, 2 years later, it's not game.
Okay,
Yeah,
you got lucky. You
No,
got lucky.
no, I didn't get lucky. I'm
he got
that's
lucky.
organic. See, y'all
Slide the
be
pill. I done
standing
did
there
all type of
listening
shit
to
like that before,
respond.
too.
No.
Y'all so quick to listen
Yeah,
to
'cause you're a
respond.
freaking predator.
I want you to
Yeah, top
understand
level.
the key word because y'all
That's
miss
one of my
these.
favorite movies.
Hold on, organic, because y'all missed the key words is consistency. So my thing is, just because he did one action doesn't mean that I'm swallowing up everything. But if you are consistently demonstrating certain actions that are a direct evidence of your care for me, then that is when we have a track record. A lot of girls give it up before they have a track record, or at the end of the day, if I'm in a situation where I just want to and that's what I'm in it for. Women don't think that we don't think about sex just as
course
much
you
too.
do.
But what I'm saying is, like Ross said, consistency is gonna really fucking show it. Over time,
And
you're
after
gonna-
he slept with her, he didn't have to slide the pillow.
He did.
could have just left.
He could have just
Yeah,
left.
that was
But
good
like-
And you
game.
wouldn't
But-
have even, if you think about it, that was, if he wouldn't have slid the pillow, that wouldn't have meant that he cared any less.
Right.
But,
But
the fact
because
that he
he
did
did.
slide the
Extra
pillow
labor.
showed how much
Now-
he was
And how he
listening
was
to what
paying
she's
attention
saying.
to when I said it in an
Yes.
insignificant conversation. I just randomly said my hip is hurting.
He's just listen. Any good man, and by good, I don't mean like treat women good. I mean good as in the ability to get women.
Right.
Pays attention to the details.
Of course.
That's the one thing that deciphers a good hunter and a weak one.
For sure.
So wait, hold on. So
Go ahead.
when we pay attention to the details, y'all got to understand our process of deciding whether or not we're going to be with you is entirely different than y'all's. So I might talk to you for 2-3 weeks. You might tell me that your hip hurts if you sleep a certain way. And then I actually am now starting to like you. So now I'm starting to actually do those little things that you said.
That's my point.
But wait. I said I'm starting to like you. I haven't committed myself to liking
And neither
you.
have I.
Okay, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about a man right now, right?
Right.
So because of that, like you can actually, that's why a lot of times girls would be like, don't act like you my boyfriend and then don't want to be my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, something happened in this process that when I was courting you and trying to vet you where I decided that this doesn't fit for me. But I thought I could. So like a man will go throughout the whole journey of getting to know a woman because he believes it could be the one that he's going to actually keep. Then he'll go to the point of paying attention to the details so then that way he can implement what he can do for her. And then at some point she's doing something consistently, or maybe she did something one time that just turned them off, right? So like and then it looks like we ghosted you. It looks like we are lying. It looks like we pulled the mask off. But a lot of times like you really ruined it for yourself with that man and you don't even know what you did because he doesn't care to actually communicate it.
Oh, Randy,
Why
please,
why
go ahead.
can't we communicate it?
Well, who, him?
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, he's like, it's a waste of time. Like you got like a smart man
You already invested
understands
the time.
like there's nothing that you guys can rebound here. If he decide once a man pulls a plug, he pulls a plug.
That's
over
fine.
with.
Pull the plug, that's fine. What's so hard about communicating that you're pulling said plug opposed to you just ghosting somebody as a man? Like
Well,
what's so hard about communicating as a man?
Well, I'm gonna say communicating in this conversational piece is what I'm understanding is to actually list what's the reasons. right? Not communicating, saying, "Hey, this is not going to work out for me," or whatever the case. It's just listing what's going on.
I would. The second one is absolutely fine too.
Okay,
Right.
well, yeah, he might.
But sometimes when we
that
hear
too.
about these ghosting stories with people dating and then suddenly, no one's talking to each other anymore and people just left out hanging whatever. Like, what's so hard about just saying, hey, you know what, this really ain't my cup of tea no more. I'm
really
gonna go
don't
this way
care.
with
It's
it.
like that's too much effort to list all these,
It was,
different problems.
but it wasn't too much effort to be
Exactly.
texting me
Yeah,
every
that's
day. It
easy.
wasn't too much
That's
effort
the
to
contradiction
be
in the
Yeah, I don't
fucking me.
care
It
that
wasn't
much.
too much
Yeah,
effort
that's
to be
simple.
dating.
That's
Cash, I want to
simple
ask you a
stuff.
question.
Yeah, we just don't
What
care.
do you
That's
take
weird.
from the
Yeah, just don't
statement
care.
that they just don't care?
That's
right?
what it boils down
What do
to.
you take from that? What is
What I-
that?
what
What
I-
did
what
I say last week's episode?
that they ain't shit.
that what?
That they ain't shit. You said
That
they ain't
what?
shit. No, it is
That
true
what?
that she said they ain't shit. But you know.
So what we need to understand
Choose wisely,
is that you need
ladies.
to come together
Use your
and you need
discernment.
to let
Run
that
from
set
this
in.
nigga.
Run
Even
till
when
they
you're
get blessed.
madly in love,
ASAP.
even when you are looking at this person saying they're this and they're that and they've been great, just know that the core of them is that they ain't.
You know what's so funny about that, Rob?
Okay,
My man
just
will say
know.
that.
Could it
He
be
will-
that
he
Josh
will-
shot
he will-
yourself in the
Hold
foot?
on now,
Yeah,
Rico.
by picking a guy that's not.
Hold on now,
you know what I'm
Rico.
saying,
Now
that you
blame
shouldn't be
us.
fucking
Should
with.
we all sing a song so we
Why
can
is he not?
respect
why-
the mic?
But why is I'm so
Because
sorry.
he just
Yes,
said
okay,
he
and I'm
can
gonna call
apply
you on it, my
the
girl.
effort.
I love you, but
He can
you know,
apply
she
the
asked me a
effort to
question.
bamboozle her, but he can't apply the effort to have a conversation with her, to be on the same page, to have an understanding.
Yeah. That
Which
takes-
takes
that
far
caring.
less effort than the latter because is crazy. Y'all got to stop acting like y'all don't know that too.
I ain't
So
have
when
no
a when a
problem
when a
with
girl has a little bit of a crash out on your and then you dealing with all that stuff later, then you quick to be like she was 7:30 and da da da.
Most time you already know
But
that though. You signed up for that.
Sometimes you do, but people have real strong
But you
representatives.
could tell. You could tell.
But a little bit, because everybody got a little crazy and y'all like it. But to Rod's point, I'll tell you the truth. My man has directly said that he calls himself a villain. He calls himself an asshole, and he chooses not to be that way with me. So you're 100% right about that,
Right.
because at his core, a lot of that you don't give a about is evident. So it is a choice. It is a choice.
So now I'm glad that we're having a coming to Jesus moment.
I still gonna come at
the
you though.
the root cause of this. You just told me that your man today is a said villain or was a said villain, and he's choosing consistently, daily, not to be that with you,
Yep.
which means it's you that is providing reason for him not to be
Correct.
what he is.
Yeah.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is when a man does that and he pulls that plug, it's because that woman has demonstrated that something that is no longer valuable to him or something that he does not like or align with.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree
pretty
with you,
simple.
Rico. I think the problem that I'm having with the conversation is y'all started going into a man and showing his love and his commitment and his consistent, all these
said-
things,
we
right?
didn't say showing
Hold on,
love.
hold on,
Man, showing
hold
love
on,
now.
hold on. Hold on.
Consistency.
Feelings. Let's use the word feelings
I said
because that's what we spoke
courtesy.
about.
I said
Let me
courtesy.
say this. You said courtesy versus
Yes.
feelings, but my point is, if we're going back to the original topic
Mm-hmm.
that started all of this, that spun out of control, because my ADHD was working real good just a little while ago. I made a statement to Organic that you responded to that took us down this rabbit hole. And when he was speaking, he directly said he don't think communication is necessary in a booty call because she had said, why can't we just have some clarity about it, right? And understand what we're doing. He said that's not necessary. I said, absolutely. Even if it's a booty call, we should at least understand what we're expecting about this encounter or not. You jumped in, right? And that's when you started getting into the relationship dynamics of the conversation. That's never where we were.
Actually,
But
that's
I
not
like people like
but-
you.
but-
You bring that whole conversation back like, no, actually what you said was.
No, the problem is none of that actually happened in sequential order, and we have the tapes to prove it. So I will say, as a good friend of Cash, let's not go with that narrative because it's completely incorrect.
Thank
If
you,
you would
Rico.
like, I could break down the sequential order.
Break it
and how
down
we
for
even
it,
got
brother.
here.
Well, let's continue here, right? Because
Okay.
we can do that. And again, we all friends. Just on the contrary, y'all.
This-
So
Yeah,
we
They're
here to
gonna be like, that's
contradict.
actually not
right?
how it happened. But go ahead.
No, because
back in my head
y'all
right
were
now.
a little bit the
Mm-hmm.
tensions were high. Y'all was broing and y'all was bro, right?
Right.
So
We
y'all
never even
got
shook each other's hands.
Y'all
Yeah,
got
we didn't do no
right.
high fives.
Y'all
Y'all
didn't
damn near
necessarily
did.
high five, but because
That
she was
was
in the
the
middle.
energy.
But
You see how y'all
yeah.
be
That was the
doing
Yeah,
energy.
at that point when y'all did it,
Projecting
Randy said,
things.
I need a new seat. right? Did you hear what she said that? And the mic can run it back in
I
case
didn't
y'all
hear
need
it. I
to.
didn't
It's
hear it.
I definitely
recorded,
said
my
that.
friend. So what I'm saying to you
to
is,
her, not us.
no, I was listening to everybody. See,
As
that's what
the
you gotta,
audience will
right?
do too.
Exactly. You got to know how ADHD brain work. Meaning, I could process a lot of information at one time.
Or
So
mix
what
it
I'm
up.
saying is, while I was watching y'all have y'all bro moment, I heard her say, "I need a new seat" because of how hard y'all was going at.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? All I'm saying, Rico, you're not wrong
I don't
about the
know her yet.
relationship
Relax.
aspect. But the original conversation was about booty calls. So
Yes.
we're still on a rabbit hole about what a man does when he's in love. This is a conversation about is we fuck it or not.
Yeah,
So,
that's where we at.
No, so all right, yes. So the conversation again to revisit for you and everybody else, we were going off of when I said I have not been on a date prior to having sex, and then I completely made sure we were all in understanding that there's two different types of scenarios for two different types of women that have two different types of trajectories from a man. Now, if you got lost in the context,
No,
I
I
can
didn't.
understand.
I didn't.
Now, a booty call does not actually do or have the same trajectory that we're talking about right now. So just so you can be clear on everything going forward, no, she doesn't deserve communication.
Doesn't.
The booty call does not deserve it. She comes here, she gets called to have sex, and then she goes home.
Yeah.
Okay, if that clears that up.
For clarity.
Not
for
even a
clarity.
peanut butter and jelly
because,
sandwich?
Because
No,
to
this
be
in the
honest
house.
with you, Rico, I wasn't lost at all. And I understand where you're saying the separation, but the original communication conversation is where we started. So now that we're back there, I'm happy we are. Because you don't feel that communication is necessary. Me even texting you to come over at 1 a.m. is a communication. I don't know if we can all agree that that's a form of communication.
Bare minimum.
And yeah, bare minimum. That's how you feel, right? This is a conversation for all of us to understand our viewpoints around booty calls. So I said, I think at minimum, a communication to understand. If I'm expecting a meal and you're not looking to offer one, let's know that up front so we don't have to waste each other's time.
I mean, if that conversation comes up, it could be easily, you know what I'm saying,
right.
communicated, but most time it doesn't. And most of these situations, like most of them are just quick and fast. It's not really more detailed to that. It's rarely that I've been in a booty call situation when a woman be like, okay, I'm trying to figure out where we are. It's already understood.
Oh, no,
it's
not
very
where we
rare.
are.
You know what I'm saying? It's very rare that it goes to that transition because they know the guy I am. I'm up front. Everybody see me on social media. I've been doing this shit for 8 years. So nothing about me is hitting.
So you won't feed
I'm not
your booty
I'm not the
call.
R word to nobody because they know who organic is. You know what I'm saying? It's out here in the world. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And that's how they're attracted to me, of my realness.
Listen, I'm sorry that me saying that, you know, I view predators of all kinds in the same type of way was triggering to you.
Yeah, I don't
But
like that.
maybe you should sit with yourself and dissect what is it about what I said that triggered you.
It don't trigger nothing
and
on
maybe
me.
you
It's
could
all
be
the
a
guys
better
in the world. I
person.
don't want these
maybe
guys
you
walking
can be
around
a
and
better
feeling
person
like,
tomorrow.
I'm a great
I
person.
want every guy that's walking around pretending to be somebody that
Hey,
they're
I don't
not,
know what happened to
that's
you in your
getting
life, but you had a sneaky
coochie.
uncle or something, did something
I
to
didn't
you
have
that
a
got
sneaky
nothing to do
uncle,
with
and
me.
what we're not going to
You know
do
what
is
I'm saying?
throw people's
I'm just
triggers
saying.
and molestations
I'm just
into their
helping you
face.
understand that got nothing to do with me.
It's not that.
Ain't nothing to do
What
with me.
happens is if you have to put on a representative
Yeah, you got to.
sleep with somebody,
You got to sometimes.
you are a piece of
Yeah, you could be that. That's fine.
Period.
You can say that, but don't say the other one. We
I
okay
can actually
with that.
say whatever the I want to because I'm a
hey,
grown
God
ass
bless
woman.
You. Yeah, you
Amen.
can. You know what I'm saying? Deal with what you got to deal with. I
Detroit
don't.
in
Ain't
this
nothing I do. I live my life free. You know what I'm saying? You don't. I ain't nothing holding me
Who
back.
don't?
You don't.
What?
You know what I'm saying? You triggered because you know you fell for guys giving you some little finagle and you got tricked. That's on your business. Step your
I'm
game
triggered.
up.
You're the ones who talking about it 30 minutes later, my guy. I didn't
It's
bring
a
it up.
conversation. It's a conversation.
I would also
so whatever happened to
say-
you, that's something you got to
I
do.
would
and
also
I don't.
say that how y'all handle booty calls are also not to me a reflection of how every man does.
That's a fact.
So I hear what y'all are saying because I've
at the
had
top with it.
plenty of instances with guys who were repeated booty
Boom.
calls, and we had communication, we had understanding, and when the situation was no longer was going to work for both of us, we were clear about that,
Yeah.
and we was able to sever ties, going about our ways, and enjoy the time that we each other.
So you had booty calls with decent human beings.
That's what I'm saying.
That sounds great.
Cash, my question for you is, what's the difference between a booty call and a sneaky link? And did your situation with that man kind of have a blend of both, or was it strictly on one side of the
It was
thing?
strictly on one side because here's what you have to understand. There's an assumption that all women are having booty calls and they're going to catch feelings, but some women are at a place of knowing that they're emotionally unavailable, right? At that time, I was not looking for an emotional attachment. I was looking for an itch to be scratched because coming keeps me happy with my children. That's quite frankly.
We'd like to be happy around this
Yeah.
motherfucker.
You know,
Cash out the bag.
if I'm being honest, them little trying my patience all day. So if I nut it, I'm in a better mood. Hey, baby, what do you want for dinner tonight? You can have grilled cheese. You can have chicken nuggets. You can have beef stroganoff if you want. If I just nutted last night. So I'm just being straight. You know what I'm saying?
Is that how the toy line came about?
That's how. Listen, and I'm gonna be in the kitchen cooking with a panty vibrator and listening to Baby Shark vibrate my.
You're dripping all down the leg.
Drip down the leg.
It's in a couple days, my Pisces.
I want to ask you guys a question while we're on this topic. Okay, it's really really interesting. I want to run this play. Why do you guys think, right, that women choose to tolerate this type of behavior and worse from men, but when they have friendships and a woman does something they don't like,
they're cut off.
They're so disposable. Why?
Are you asking the guys?
I think,
or the girls?
Everybody talk
I
about
think
it.
women hold their friends to higher standards than they do their mates and their spouses. Like with a friendship, I should be able to be myself 100%. You should be able to be yourself with your spouse too. But your girl, like you could tell your girl your deepest and your darkest secrets. But I do think in that same breath that girls are too quick to cut their friends off for those violations because a lot of us don't know how to communicate. I think that women don't make the best friends, especially to one another. I think that sometimes, in my experience, especially when it comes to female friendships, especially if you're a person that's constantly elevating and trying to be your best self and the better version of yourself, if you don't have women around you that's like that, that's growing and leveling up too, animosity, jealousy, and things like that's going to come about. Now, when it comes to why do they date people that they don't necessarily have a future with, and why they give themselves to people they don't have a future with?
No, why would they tolerate it? So, like, let's say me and you are we best friends or we're homegirls, whatever.
Right.
We get into an argument about why you didn't drop off whatever. I asked you to drop it off, whatever, something, whatever. You'll be like, I ain't with that no more. She got me up. But your nigga could cheat on you over and over again, and you cry and get back with him. Why is the toleration level so
in real
different?
life communication.
Okay.
I think that a lot of women just don't know how to communicate with their other female friends, but when it comes to a man hurting their feelings or, you know, doing something to them to violate or whatever, it's almost expected. We live in a misogynistic society that teaches us. How many aunties you done had conversations with, the first thing they gonna tell you is, oh, all men cheat. Long as he paying your bills and he coming home, baby, you good. All the OGs tell us like that. So this society has already set us up to expect a certain level of failure when it comes to our relationships. Not with our friendships, though. You look up, friendships have been presented as perfection. The Golden Girls, even with like shows like Moesha, she was a bad friend, like a mug, but her friend still stood beside her. You see, when you look at what especially our community is shown when it comes to love, it's constantly struggle. Look at Baby Boy. That movie is played on BET every freaking Saturday a month since I was 12 years old. You feel me? We're growing up glorifying the bull crap when it comes to love, but when it comes to actual friendships, we see perfection, but we don't see conflict resolution.
You know,
Wow,
I can
was
see
an
that.
excellent response.
And you know what I
Brandy.
think too? So
Excellent.
there's emotional intelligence, right? Just awareness, first of all. But I think with the other part of it is the management of expectations. If anything I've noticed is that a lot of times women don't have a good example of what proper love or treatment looks like. But you might see your mom, or especially if you had people around you who weren't in happy relationships, or you didn't have a lot of good examples of that to see, you are figuring out what that's supposed to look like in a relationship as you're going through it. Whereas friendships, like you said, they do model it a lot on TV. I don't give a fuck if you're a Disney kid or whatever. It's like ride or die, X, Y, and Z. So I get that, but I do agree with you, Rod. I feel like if anything, though, I don't think that it's a fair standard. Like my friend and I have constantly had circumstances where we had to come together and be like, in this relationship right here. But we recognize that the value of this friendship outweighs the circumstance. And I don't ever let a temporary emotion cause me long-term friendship. That's the other thing. And
maturity.
Impulsivity is another thing. Literally, so you and your feelings for 2 seconds. So this who listened to you cry about every nigga that did you wrong is suddenly I can't with you. This who done supported your dreams, listen to you babble on about all the things you want to do, wish you could do, is suddenly bull. But this nigga who wouldn't feed you after he you.
Don't do that.
He want to come over again.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying y'all, but real talk. These
better come
guys,
back over.
that guy will get more chances.
Hell
Better
yeah.
come back
That
over.
guy,
She know it.
that guy
Whoa.
will get more
She better come get these
chances,
blessings.
right? Because you just still baiting onto Cinderella's dreams
Yeah.
that he gonna come on.
I might change my mind and take it further, huh?
That nigga gonna show with a glass slipper that happens to fit
Never
you.
gonna happen.
You know what I'm saying? But
Randy and Cash, that was phenomenal.
Hold on, let
What
me
do
the
you
guys
think
gotta
of
say
answer
Lewis?
that shit.
get in there, Lou.
It's
Yeah, what you got, Lou?
Expectations.
What you got, Lou?
What women expect from their friends versus what they expect from the man is totally different. You see how y'all be like, men ain't that's the expectation going in. So if he ain't you already know he ain't but your girl's supposed to be there to hold you down, you're gonna be like, you shouldn't have done this versus the man, I expected you to do this. To me,
That
that's
don't
the
make it right. That don't make
it
it
doesn't
right.
make it right, but that's
should have the same
to answer the
patience you got for
question.
these
I feel
niggas.
to answer the question, I feel that's why women accept it from a man versus from their own friend. I've seen it firsthand. Oh, she did this to me. She did this to me. You complain to that girl about this nigga all the time. The nigga do 100 things over, and you still run back to him. As soon as she do that one thing, guess who you run into? The dude.
So it's like you feel like they set the bar higher for the person who's more there for
Y'all
them
say it every day.
than it.
Randy, I just met you. But every week, niggas ain't.
I don't actually say
All right,
it.
but
yeah,
we
That's
say
Rob.
it more often
Rob
than not.
says it.
We say it more often than not.
That's Rob.
So if you're
We got
thinking
definitely
that,
3 episodes.
That's
at
my
least.
girl, but I don't be saying
If
it.
you're thinking
I'm raising
that,
3 little at home. I gotta hope they're gonna turn out to be something.
Come on now.
Okay.
motherfuckers gonna show you who they are off rip. So as soon as you think he's dipping out, oh, he was gonna do it anyway. Versus going in there with a clean slate, clean heart, fresh, and being like, you know what? Maybe this can work. Y'all already thinking that. You know, it
Expected
took
him-
forever for me to make my wife think that I was on a straight and narrow. Forever.
What did you feel like you had to do to get her to actually let that guard down?
Just be consistent. But I was ready to slow the fuck down. Like my brothers here, they're just maybe not at that space, and it's nothing against them. Me
Right.
at the time in my life, I just was ready to settle down. I
It's
wanted to
everything
slow my
against
shit
them
down.
niggas.
Say it again.
Said with love.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding a little
It is
bit.
what it is. Sometimes gotta happen in a man's life. For I just had other things going on. I had 3 children. You know, I wanted to go back to school. There were certain things I wanted to do, and I feel like I needed that level of support. And I was like, you know what? To get that, right, I needed to become something that maybe I wasn't ready to become, or demonstrate that to the bare minimum. And I did that. And here we are.
I think that I'm not gonna say I think. I know I have never met a woman who had great friends and was in a bad relationship, ever.
That's
Usually,
interesting.
all those friends that she has are terrible friends, or either contradictful friends, or her and them are not. They don't even respect each other's discernment or decision making. Every woman that I met that had a good, solid friend group that was filled with good women
Ain't have a
had
man.
good relationships.
Oh,
They had they had a good relationship, and they would not, because I think that your friends are really a reflection of you. And sometimes people don't want to accept that their friend is a terrible person because they make excuses because they love their friend. But now your friend is a terrible person, and although you might change, that terrible person is still inside you too. And maybe every so often, it could be once a year, it could be once every 5 years, but you become that old person because that terrible friend of yours is reminding you. Now you still have that in you, so you can't even navigate a real relationship because you're still having battles within yourself, within your friendship. When you have a good friendship, whether you're a guy or a girl, you're gonna have a good, home life, whether it be single or not, right?
You know, Rico, it's so, first of all, this is a good point, right? And I think it can be true, but as you were saying that, it made me think about a friend of mine who I think is like the total flip of that, right? Whereas she had a strong circle of people around her who were constantly trying to lift her up, but because she never actually dealt with her past traumas, her own issues with abandonment and all those types of things, our advice fell on deaf ears. So even though we were trying to tell her, you deserve better than this, your personality's dope, you just kind of person that just want to absorb your energy, she still kept falling victim to the same type of dude, because at the end of the day, he made her feel good in a different way that we never
I
could.
think it's exceptions to every rule
Yeah.
for sure. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
think what he's saying is
He's got
the
a good
overall
point.
rule
But what
of if you understand how to balance balance, if balancing relationships and showing up properly in a relationship, that can go romantic wise, that can go friendship wise, that can go family ship wise or whatever. So somebody that knows how to balance proper friendship more than likely is going to know how to show up properly in a romantic relationship as well.
Correct.
Yeah, but what I'm actually saying is a little bit more to it, right? It's that plus the fact that their friends, and I'm not saying you specifically.
No, I'm listening.
But 9 times out of 10, their friends are telling them not to do something that they did. So it's like, and one thing I learned about women is if I say, hey, don't do something and I'm doing it, she's going to be like, well, you do it too. So she's never going to really fully listen or be receptive to what I'm telling her to do, not to do it in this case. Same thing goes with the friend. The friend that she's saying, hey, don't tolerate being cheated on, but that friend that got cheated on for 6 years, right? So in her mind, she's like, my situation could be different and you went through it, so I'm going to go through it too. A lot of times it's always the contradictory friendships that they have that also emulate and be a direct reflection of the relationship that she's in.
Or she could have tripped over a crack and said, watch your step. Because I think, you know what I'm saying? Like if someone did go through that type of relationship for 6 years, then I would like to say that they're an expert to a degree in what that looks like. So now she's saying, listen, I was where you were. I did that and I made that mistake for a certain amount of time. And as my friend, I don't want to see you experience what I did. There's a crack in the ground. There's no reason for both of us to have to trip over the same crack. But I also agree, it varies. It depends on the circumstances and the maturity of everybody involved. But
I think we got to get to the question.
Yeah, to the question. Yeah, let's get to that.
Organic.
That was some good topics. Y'all broke it down all the way down to the mic.
that was a great question, Rob.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I was lost on that. I don't know what to say. I ain't gonna lie to you.
We know.
That's too much cares
If
going
it's
on.
not finessing, you don't care.
I know, right? I ain't gonna lie. Here we go. We got a question of the week. Hi, I love the show. Shout outs to the whole crew. I've been seeing this girl for a while, and we both agreed it was just casual thing. But now she's acting different, getting mad if we don't text back, asking what I'm doing all day. She's switching up the terms of our engagement. How do I get this situation back to a situationship?
You can't.
We want to keep it casual.
You can't.
You can't.
How can we do that?
Shouldn't have dropped that bomb dick on her.
They can't.
Yeah.
If you want to keep it mid, you got to give mid dick. Period.
That's true. And see, that always been a problem with me too.
You just be giving it all?
Yeah, because I go too crazy every time.
Too much.
And I put the, like she said, I put that propaganda on it.
You know it's so
The
funny about
propaganda
that.
is insane.
It's hilarious.
Camera.
We will.
Because you're trying to piss me the off.
Well, I put that propaganda on her along with that teenager with the girl. They be stuck. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's so
Fucking
crazy because
ridiculous.
I've heard a lot of dudes say that they don't want to give the best dick.
Yeah,
but they
and
also
that's
don't
always
want,
my
But then he
problem.
said,
That's
I don't
me.
want nobody to have a reputation to say,
Yeah,
I
but you
bet
gotta-
all the
you
dick.
gotta have the word of mouth.
you niggas' problems.
Yeah.
So much good dick around.
Do we gotta go to the reference, Rod? Do we
She's
gotta
a
reference the
reference
reference?
Oh, the dick is so good.
But we go do we gotta reference
You
Rod from the
you
friend?
wrote it yourself on ChatGPT. Get the
Nah,
out of here, bro.
I'll be honest.
It's word of mouth.
Get the fuck
I'm
out of
not.
here.
I'm
gotta
not
have
that
word of
guy.
mouth around here,
I'd
right?
rather prove you wrong. First of all, you give one medium, mid dick. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And she tell her friends. The other friends still gonna want to figure out for themselves. And the one that you really like, you knock her head off.
What type of do you
Oh, that's a
be
good.
fucking
I like that
on?
scenario. That's a good one.
And then she go back and be like, well, I don't know. You break the friendship up. I don't know what
Yeah,
kind of
'cause you
dick
knock it
got.
too crazy. She
You
don't
get
wanna tell
this
the
dick.
friends.
Like, what? Now they-
Break the
now she
friendship
try-
up is sick.
That's
Yeah.
now the one that you gave mid dick won't you again. It's
Yeah.
weird.
I'm about to host
What
a
do you get?
class.
I like
I'm about to
that.
host a class to teach you just to stay away from these
They
type of
can't do
niggas.
it. They can't do
I'm
it.
just saying.
Jesus Christ.
They love it.
She's gonna be a vendor and sell all her sex toys.
You all right?
No, but I don't think, bro. I'm just
Yeah,
telling
it's
you the truth.
tough.
You can't because once those feelings have toggled that line where they start asking those questions, you can't pull a Uno reverse.
Yeah.
It's never gonna go back. And if you make her hate you, then
Yeah,
that's
that's
just the
bad.
end
You
of
don't
it.
want that.
Yeah,
You don't want that.
I think what I said in a previous situation is no such thing as permanent relationships, only permanent agendas. If we have the same agenda, we could keep rocking. Once the agenda is different from me, the relationship is going to be impacted. She on a different page, man.
Yeah.
She wants something more than you willing to give. It's time for you to shop for a new booty call. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
you gotta be real.
You know why he asking this question though? Because he like her too.
Yeah, he might
In
like
real
her
life.
Facts.
Because if he didn't, he wouldn't
wouldn't
have
even
typed
care.
that.
There we go.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
Wouldn't
typed
care
out. He
right
wouldn't have
in.
typed that whole paragraph up there.
Cass,
He like her too.
I really agree with what you're saying. I think that's great sound advice. And let's end this off on a light note, right? So everybody else, if you can give some advice for a booty call and it to not be messy, what is something that you can do? or give. I
Not
should
be
say.
messy.
My suggestion would be to not have booty call situations with men that there's no potential with. As much as you have desires as a woman, I think it's important for you to demonstrate some self-love, and you shouldn't allow a man to casually have sex with you and not give you anything else. I just don't think that that's something that you should do. To each his own.
That was great advice.
My advice is really simple. Play with yourself before you make the call.
Before you get played with.
Post-nut
clarity.
Post-nut
Get you some
clarity.
post-nut clarity. If you still feel like calling that motherfucker after you had that nut alone, then by all means, do what you do. But honestly, real talk, sometimes you just need to scratch it yourself, flip the fucking bean and whatever. And then afterwards, you'd be like, oh, the moment would pass. And guess what? You know what you have to eat in your house.
Yeah. That's true.
We still on the pool?
If you're starting sparkling with the food there on the side, so after
Have
you
it
come,
ready.
you can just reach over
Have
and
it ready, baby.
Cash, here's the kicker, Cash. She can't cook. I'm kidding.
Uber Eats,
It's a
she
bar,
can,
okay.
you can wine and dine yourself, but you can eat a seafood boil for all I care after. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, I would say this. It's typical. It's very difficult, especially on the woman's side, because once again, like, you could be truthful and ask those questions. 90% of the time, a guy ain't gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be more than this. It's just gonna be this." You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, a guy will be truthful with you. That would be the best scenario, but most likely it's not. But
That's real.
make sure you just say it from the beginning what you want. I want more than that. Most likely, he may probably lie to you. But use your discernment, ladies. Y'all born with the extra attribute. Use that. If it feels not right, just leave it alone. If you want more, but if you just want to have sex, have a good time, then enjoy yourself. But if you want more, hey man, over communicate. That's all you do. Because even if a woman overly says it too many times, you be like, hey baby, I ain't on that. Leave me alone. I'm gonna tell you the truth now.
Tired of hearing this.
Yeah, like you keep asking me this. Or we gonna be more. I just
I
don't
was
want to do
being
this.
sarcastic.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She had about 4 or 5 times.
she had
Like,
4 or 5 times about to stay
listen
there.
up.
You can't get
Let me be
hamburger
real with you, baby. We ain't doing nothing. I don't want nothing.
Said,
But,
this
you know what I'm
shake and
saying?
bacon, I help.
Yeah, like you got me, baby. I gotta remove the mask. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
It's true.
listen.
Well,
The remove the mask is crazy because you were so mad when I said you was
had
like
a mask. So you saying that they gonna wear you
Like
down?
Scooby-Doo.
Like they gonna wear you down?
they
so
gonna wear
hard
you
for
down.
you?
what I said. Now this nigga wear
Yeah, you can't
mask.
say that. Yeah, we ain't saying that.
When
Yeah.
I said what I said,
Yeah. It's not a
niggas
ski
was
mask.
mad.
It's not a ski mask.
I'm making it a clip.
Yeah. Gotta make it 2 clips. Make it 2 clips.
No,
You know what I'm
because
saying?
add it all together, nigga.
Yeah, I chop it up too. I got that too.
I don't give a
And I don't either.
Camera right here.
Never will.
listen.
Each other with editing clips. This is a real content creator right here.
You got to know how to do
You
it.
got like
Production, you know what to do with it.
Listen.
About to drop the propaganda.
When it comes
Got to do
how
that.
I think you can have a non-messy booty call, I would really like to echo what Ross says. It's time for you to stand up, okay? If he cannot even show up for you a little bit emotionally, a little bit with the foods, a little bit with maybe a little bit of money.
Prostitution.
Yeah. Like it's prostitution.
There she go.
He
Yeah,
shouldn't be
yeah,
getting
yeah.
none of that honey. I got the same person that I sell this to
That's dope.
every single day.
Yeah, you gave it up quick too.
Yeah, I sure the did. It worked in my favor, nigga.
God bless you. You lucky. That's a blessing.
Been giving you for months and ain't even got a happy meal.
Never will.
Water.
Never will.
What are you gotta say, Big Lou?
Take us home.
Not a Happy Meal is nuts.
All right, just choose wisely.
I get a toy.
6-piece.
Know who you getting into. Know who you getting into it with, and just don't make sure you got a Happy Meal at least, for Christ's sake.
Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
With sweet and sour sauce.
What are you doing right now?
Yeah, you on rotation, brother.
He's a married man.
Oh, yeah, you got
That's
it.
a good man
That's a
right
good
there.
man,
That is a good
Savannah.
I
one.
appreciate it, but every woman
So
ain't
what's
your
your
wife.
advice, Rico?
That is a
What's
good
my
guy.
advice?
Yeah, you didn't answer your own question.
I gotta go on the opposite end of the spectrum of Randy and say, fellas, stand down.
Damn right.
Stop giving out too much, because when you start giving out too much, the booty call become an expectation and entitlement, and then it also becomes some feelings because you taking care of a girl that you don't even want to keep.
A $12 Chipotle bowl is too much. You niggas is different.
It's like 23 now.
Yeah.
So they don't want you. They want
Not
guacamole.
should you get double corrected.
I do.
Greedy ass nigga.
I get two. I get two.
And first of all, everything
Chipotle
nowadays is a la carte.
with the guacamole.
So ain't nothing just one thing. You gotta get sides. You gotta get drink. You got $25.
There is no size at Chipotle.
Yeah, the guacamole
Oh,
and
the
chips.
chips.
Grow up. You get
And the
that added
queso.
to the bowl.
Ross,
Please.
thank you for joining us for another episode of
That rock on
On the Contrary. Bye.